are in this world. Hope you're well. I don't know if you can hear that, but some frogs. It's a little pond. It's really green now. So my second live on YouTube. It's a very pretty day. It's gonna get really, really hot, so taking my nature walk that I'm very grateful to be able to take earlier today. It's kind of people around, so like I said on my last live, it's not common around here to walk around talking to a camera. But thought it would be fun to get back on and talk about closure. Hello, everyone. This is an old factory behind me, and we'll be walking to what is called the mansion house. But let's see. See the castle? It's pretty. So, just want to talk about closure. Maybe I should have done this at noon because there doesn't seem to be anybody on right now. So, I'll just talk because I'll post it later, anyways. How to find closure. I don't know. I'm just making sure I'm not going to get hit by a car. Hello. Welcome. I see there's some people. How to find closure, right? I was talking about it on my last live a little bit. I was talking about a relationship ending that wasn't like a major relationship or anything, but how I was dealing with an avoidant type, and how I could recognize a pattern, and I decided I'm gonna end it, not running because I saw potential, but I'm at a point where I understand myself, and I understand that if I don't share the same values with somebody, or they don't share the same standards that I have, and I'm not talking standards in like, oh, I've got to be high society and with the most handsome whatever. No, I'm not talking about those kind of standards. I'm talking about like emotional standards, right? Feeling safe, feeling that you can trust a person, not just with being faithful in a relationship, but being able to be with you and be able to communicate with you their needs and wants. That dog on the walk, that dog sounds a lot worse. It's just very protective of his house. Like, I'm on public property right now, but their house is like right near it. But that old dog's fine. So here's my little Hansel and Gretel spot. Oh, the sun. It's It's finally in central New York. It's finally nice, although we didn't get a spring, right? Like a spring. It just went from extremely cold winter to now extremely hot. So, anyways, yeah, sharing the same values, sharing this. Hi! Just saying hi to some people. Thanks for joining. It is a beautiful, peaceful place. This is one of my go-tos for nature walks. It's not mine. I like to pretend though, right? Sometimes, you know, not not being delusional, but kind of trying to take it if we're talking in terms of vibration, right? Like I try to come to places that I want to take that positive, peaceful vibration on, you know, just for a moment. Fantasy. It's hard for me to walk, talk, and read. Stands in law. Hello. Chandar. See, now please don't get mad at me if I butcher your names. I really appreciate you saying hi. So, yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I feel like at this point in my life, I'm a solo mom. I'll say single mom. But I want to coin the phrase solo mom. I feel like there's something different to saying solo as opposed to saying single. The one and only thing I'm the most afraid of lately is ticks. So if you see me blowing, I'm like blowing just bugs off of me. I don't know. To me, tough being a single mom, solo mom, whatever. I guess you could say it's by choice, but I really had no choice. But solo mom is, I'm choosing to just focus on my child. Am I opposed to ever getting in a relationship again? I am not opposed to it. Not at all. But I feel for my child's sake, I owe it to this innocent soul that didn't ask to be born but was brought onto this earth and is innocent and young, that I owe it to her to be completely present for her. Now, does that mean I'm sacrificing my own life? No. I don't think I'm sacrificing my own life in any sort of way. I've made my decision. I want to be a good parent, be a good mom, protect my daughter. And at the same time, I've said it before, if getting into a relationship causes some dramas that, overlaps with my parenting, I'll choose to be single or solo, right? Because life's hard enough and childhood needs to be protected in so many ways, So having another person around and entering my life, right, is, oh, I see some comments. Ma'am, can I ask you some questions? I don't have a sister to talk to. Yeah, sure, you can ask me questions. I've lived life. A single mom. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm so sorry. Exactly. No, I never would. I mean, I waited until I was a lot older to have a child anyways, get married, have a child. So I had already learned a lot of lessons before I became a mom. But that is very important. And that is something I take into big consideration. If I ever dated anybody, like I'm bringing that person into my child's life too. So trust me, there's a lot of discernment. And that's why it brings me to closure and ending relationships. But yes, I will never do that to my child. She is my first priority, and um, she comes first, no matter what. She is my everything, and you know, I have a life, but I am a mom, and it's so sacred and so beautiful, and I feel so blessed to have a child and to be a mama and to experience that. Yeah. So that being said, when I feel like I know some other single moms too, and I'm not judging because we're all just trying to survive life, right? But it's all a matter of perception. And my perception is I I don't trust people, not in a bad way, but I mean I'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, I'm a mama bear, right? So it's gonna take a lot for me to let. So I mean, feel free to share some of your experiences on here. Growing up with a single mom. So yeah, as I was saying too, I think with some friendships that I have with other single mothers, their priority is, I feel like, trying to find their child another dad, of sorts. I mean, some of them, in my case, with my daughter, um, it's sad. Like her father completely abandoned her. I mean, he abandoned me, but that's okay too. But he abandoned her, right? He's not paying any child support. Um, he's in another country, so it's tricky. But the kind of person he was too, like he's inconsistent. I didn't want her heart to be more broken by him saying he would come and not show up. She was really young when all this happened, and when we divorced, separated. Um, he's got some issues, and no one's ever stopping him from coming to visit. I do have full custody, and if he ever was to choose to visit, he has supervised visitation. But since our divorce papers, I never heard from him again. Never received any child support for her. He has taken no responsibility. So in my case, as a solo mom, I'm completely solo, right? You would think that would put me even more in the mindset of saying, like, I gotta find my kid a baby. I gotta find my child a father. I'm also lucky I had the best dad growing up. Um, and thankfully he's still alive. And as a grandpa to my daughter, he's actually taken on that father role with her. He's great with me, So she's lucky to have that father figure, at least with her grandpa right now. He's a great guy. But even if my dad wasn't still around, I definitely think I would be at this point of no, like I don't need to find a stranger to be my child's father. Uh, you know, but some friends, and even so, like they still might even have some other single moms. They might even still have that the paternal father still in the child's life, but they still feel this weird need, like gotta remarry, gotta have a boyfriend, gotta find a substitute dad, and I feel like that is just not the right way to go about things, right? It's not organic, and it's risky. It's risky. But I guess all that I'm saying about being a solo mom is also influenced, like my perception of relationships, getting into one, ending, the difference between how my response was to relationships ending when I was just a single gal without a child, not married, right? And my response to breakups and ghostings and things are much different now. Hindsight is 2020. So yeah, I guess I'm speaking to my inner child, my younger me, and any woman out there too that's in her 20s, 30s, right? That's still single. What I would tell myself at your age, what I would hope you would listen to if I could go back. I mean, I wouldn't really want to change everything because then maybe my daughter wouldn't be here. You know, it's what led to that. But and I wouldn't change any of that for the world. But moving forward on, and what I would tell people younger than me is what I'm sharing now. Right? So join me in this nature walk in the woods. There's this lake right here. It's peaceful. So first off, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't overthink. Don't overthink it. If something doesn't feel right and you know it in your gut, listen to your gut. I've learned to listen to my gut. Whoa. Oh, it's a deer. Holy crap. Scared me. You know what? I better turn around. There might be ticks around and I'm wearing sandals. I lived in New York City for 20 years, right? So I'm still a city girly. As much as I want to get into nature, I'll just. That poor little deer. They're so timid. But, anyways, ooh, the adventure of the woods. I'll just come over to see high grass. I don't know. Bears, grass, ticks. Oh my! But there's a lake. Maybe I'll come to the parking lot because it's just a little bit more shaded until there. La la la. Where was I? Oh dear, I lost my train of thought. Deer, literally. Oh, there's a squirrel. Oh, it's a chipmunk. Oh, there's a little babbling brook. Babbling away. Just like me. Babbling away. Some peace for a moment. Hi, who's ever on? I don't know who's still with me from what I was talking about before. Oh, I was talking, yes, I remember now. I was talking about trusting your gut and that I've learned from experience. Don't doubt. Don't doubt this second brain that the Egyptians believed, right? Our stomach, our gut, right? That's the all knowing. My ex husband, I mean, you can get like intuition, but I literally had a gut feeling. I mean, I've had my moments of precognition. Is that what the word I'm looking for? Of being able to kind of have a flash and see something, and it's happened more than once, right? And so, but it leaves doubt in your mind, like, is it just fears kicking in of certain things, blah blah, and then it turns out ends up being true. Well, this one, there was no doubt. Okay, just moved to Canada. Like this is my daughter was born during the C era in 2020, right? So I was pregnant during the big C era, right? The big C-19 era. I was pregnant throughout it. She was born in the midst of it, right? So the world really suddenly changed for all of us at that point in time, right? I'm gonna go back in the shade. stand still a little bit, right? The world suddenly really, really, really changed. And um, I was in the process of getting married, but the whole world shut down, right? The border shut down. And so my ex-husband wasn't able to get over into the United States to be with me for most of my pregnancy. Finally got in the last month. And then he could stay into the United States as long as he wanted, but once he had to leave, and he did end up having to leave for work, right, he wasn't going to be allowed back into the United States. So it was this like shot. And my daughter and I were not allowed to leave the United States until we got like this certain permission, blah, blah, blah. And then 4 months after her birth, 4 months, yeah, 4 months, she was 4 months after her birth, they allowed us to go into that country to be with him, which we promptly got married and all that. But this is in the middle of the C-19 stuff. Hi, thanks for the hearts. Oh, thank you, thank you. Hi, Shandar. Hi. So now, she was like almost 4 months, right? So now we're headed into February. We've only been there really, I mean, this is like the end of December. I know, literally, we were allowed the eve of Christmas Eve, which was so sad too, because leaving my parents, this is their only grandchild, I'm their only child, you know, it was bittersweet. It was sad. It was real sad. But I was excited to be with my husband, and of course, you know, she should be with her dad, you know, for the holidays and stuff, but it was just very bittersweet. And if I had known in the end, like, in the future, he would, like, completely abandon her, my dear, you know. But, that being said, so, talking about intuition, it was going to be Valentine's Day was coming, and my ex-husband was planning this little trip for the two of us, and first of all, like, I want to be with my daughter. It's my first Valentine's Day with my child. And your child, you know. It was his second child. He had, she has a half-sister from another marriage. My stepdaughter, who's a sweetheart, and similar kind of treatment from him, but that's off topic. So, and he's just like, oh, it's just this little trip with our friends, and, you know, it'd be nice for us to have something. My parents will watch the baby. It'd be nice for us to have something, you know, outside of, you know, just you and I, and it'll only be for 2 days. You'll be gone. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, we'll celebrate Valentine's Day with her. She doesn't even know at this point in time, you know, because now she's like 5 months. And okay, so all right, so I reluctantly, and it's like the first time I'm away from my daughter, another country, right? I mean, I did know my in-laws enough, and that's a whole different story. But, and I'm also postpartum. Like, I wasn't diagnosed with, but I think every woman, whether they're diagnosed with postpartum or not, like, you're still got emotions and stuff going through you, and hormones, and, you know, you're a mom, you're a new mom, you're adjusting to this body change and all kinds of stuff, you know, so whatever. I reluctantly agreed to go on this trip, and I am a little excited to have, like, maybe a moment with some friends, some adult time, and things like that. Hello. So I'm talking about intuition if you're just joining in and trusting your gut, and a story where I really learned to trust my gut. So, and also tying into closure and, you know, taking responsibility for relationships ending, whether you ended them or not, and finding your closure. Yeah, did you just get my breakdown? I'm just taking a nature walk and reflecting. And my last live was talking about like walking away from, how I came to understand and close a situationship of sorts, where I picked up on a cycle of being with an avoidant type of partner and putting it to a permanent end, and how that ties into my maturity and being a solo mom and having to make these decisions based off of putting my daughter completely first and prioritizing her well-being. Not that I'm not well, but also my mental well-being needs to be on point for her mental well-being. And just talking about intuition right now and trusting your gut and how it's like the second brain. So, and the Egyptians, whatever. So I'm telling the story. My ex-husband convinces me to go on a little small Valentine's Day trip with him without my daughter, who's at like 5 months, and we're in another country. And it was during the C-19 time. So I reluctantly agree. And the night before we're leaving, he tells me, like, oh, and we're gonna go snowboarding. And I had never, not snowboarding, snowmobiling. And I at first was kind of excited, like, oh, cool, like I've never actually been. And then all of a sudden, it was maybe about 10 minutes later, something hit me, like, hi, thanks for the likes. Something, I just felt it in my gut. Like I got a stabbing pain in my gut, right? And I all of a sudden have this image of getting into an accident, right? So I confront my husband at the time about it and say, listen, B, we'll call him B. B, I don't want to go on a snowmobile because I just feel like something awful is going to happen. I just kind of had this premonition of getting in a bad accident, and I have this awful stomach ache to go with it. Like literally my gut. Literally. That has never happened where I've felt it in my gut. And he's French. And he's saying in his accent, like, oh, don't be silly. Ever since you had the baby, you're no more fun. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm a new mom. Now I'm about 5 months postpartum, and I've waited my whole life to be a mom. And I don't know. Like, he's just like, oh, that's just fear talking and hormones and, gaslighting me out of my own gut feeling. Right? Me kind of take it into consideration. Calm myself down out of it. And then I was trying to go to sleep that night before we were leaving for the trip the next day. My in-laws are already there to watch the baby. And then again, bam, just this gut. I mean, it was a stomach ache like I can't ever describe. It didn't feel like I was going to vomit. It just felt stabbing. And, I had no other kind of issue going on at the time. It was just stabbing. And again, bam, I'm just seeing an accident like flash before my head. I don't have any details, but I just know something's going to be wrong. And I said again to him, like, this is not, I woke him up. It was in the middle of the night and I couldn't fall asleep because of this going on. I was like, listen, I do not want to go on that snowmobile tomorrow. I do not. I was like, I'm having, and he's like, just calming me down out of it. And I was like, fine. And I wasn't the type of person to put my baby in bed with me, but that night, like, I stayed up all night and just, my baby was sleeping. I just held her all night. I felt like this was, hi, thanks for the hearts. And I felt like it was really going to be my last time with her. My last night with her. What? For what? For what? Because I want to appease somebody else and they think I'm not fun anymore because I'm a new mom. And I just literally had a human being like 5 months before that. And I'm afraid of dying because I want to be a mom to my child or getting into an accident. And I literally am having a gut feeling. So this is, if you're just joining, this is about trusting your gut. And then we go. And I calm myself down, get to this beautiful like castle area. We're in Canada, I'll give you that much. And, they give directions about getting on. And then I thought maybe the accident would happen if I got on the snowmobile, my own, because I've never been on one before, whatever. And this is like advanced trails. And my ex-husband wasn't like advanced with it at all either. But the instructors, and I said, maybe can I just get on with you? You know, maybe that's the problem. Like, I shouldn't drive alone. And the instructors give explicit instructions in French and in English. But the most important one was, if for some reason you have to stop the snowmobile, do not turn it back on. You need to stay behind us and on the trails. So don't turn the snowmobile back on. We'll realize you're not behind us and we'll come back for you, right? Do not try to attempt then driving off on your own. Very, very said in both languages. Very explicit. Okay, so we get on. I'm feeling nervous. Oh, I had that stabbing stomach feeling again. I talked myself out of it. Got on. All right, well, I'm going to make the most of it. You know, like, I'm fine. And then I start relaxing into it. I'm like, actually, this isn't so bad. It must have just all been in my head, you know, new mom hormones, that kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden, V stopped the snowmobile. And why? Why are you stopping? Oh, I want you to take a picture. Or I want you to film this. He's handing me his cell phone. I said, are you crazy? The instructor said, do not stop for anything unless, you know, there's a problem. And then he's starting it back. Oh, please don't. But I'm on the back with him, you know, trying to reiterate what the man told us. And before he just takes back off. And I really have no choice. I mean, it's not like I could just jump off of it. And all of a sudden, I don't think we've even gone 2 more minutes. We're going over like this bridge that's over this like tiny frozen ravine below. And he hits a bump on this bridge. And next thing I know, we're flying off of it. Flying off this bridge. And everything happened in slow motion for me at that point. All I could think about was my daughter. And that I'd never see her again. And then I remember the nose hitting, and because I was on the back, I was catapulted off of it, right? So he only just like fell to the side, nothing happened to me, but I was catapulted off of it, right? Like, imagine being on a school bus, right? And how the bumps are in the back. And it threw me forward, and I landed on my chin with my legs over my head. Now, what comes into play is, too, I've always been obsessed with the scorpion yoga pose, so I had practiced it a lot. Regardless, we came from probably like 20 feet above, right? It was a bridge. We landed on ice. I landed on my chin. My helmet went flying off. I have a concussion. I don't know what country I'm in. I don't know where I am, but I'm still alive, thankfully, right? Later on, doctors were looking at x-rays. They're like, we can't believe you didn't snap your neck. We can't believe there's not a fracture. I mean, I ended up spraining my back, and it was months of recovery from that sprain, but it was not a broken back, and I was walking away alive. Had a couple of concussions from it, but thank God. But my whole point is, and after that, and from here on out, I don't care if it's the littlest thing, I am trusting my intuition, and let that be a lesson to you too. If you have any kind of inclination, and don't doubt it. Don't be like, oh, fear, hormones, blah, blah, blah. No. If you are getting an absolute signal, don't doubt it. So yeah, in the midst of that recovery, I mean, now I have a 5-month-old, a sprained back. It was so, I would have these spasms in my back that would come into like the front, into my spleen area, and like contract me. I couldn't, it was months of that. And then within that, a week later, he goes away on a business trip and starts having an affair on me, right? In the midst of all that, right? Anyways, trust your gut, right? Trust your gut. So coming to that, and from these experiences, and from growing and becoming a solo mom, and also even witnessing a person completely walking away from their child, abandoning their child, like, yeah, these are my lessons that I've learned. So my closure, and just like, take this into consideration for yourselves as closure. Somebody ghosts you, and it's been a few days, as hard as it is, and this is my best advice, and it's still hard for me because it just recently happened to me too, again, and I had already made my mind up, like, and I used to tell my friends this too, like, someone's silence, someone's absence, someone's ghosting speaks volumes, right? And don't bring it back onto you like it's your fault. No, that's their fault, right? That's on them. That is their way of immaturely not being able to communicate, right? Cowardly of sorts, right? I don't want to put people down, in that way. Everybody's got their own thing and their own reasoning. But for you and your own sanity, understand, like, it doesn't matter if somebody is choosing not to have this mature conversation with you. That's their choice, and it speaks volumes. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, and especially if you know that you didn't do anything wrong, and now you're gaslighting yourself, saying like, "Oh, maybe it's this, maybe that." No, overthinking things. No, don't overthink it. Someone's ghosting. That's on them. They have their reasons. Whether they come forward with you eventually to give you that, great. If they don't, then whatever, move on. But they come back around, you know, which sometimes they do months later or whatever. That's on you. But recently I've been picking up patterns, and I just shut it down. Closure. You know, um, it comes from within. What you perceive is, well, maybe it was my fault, or maybe, or even like whatever. Somebody ends a relationship and says it's because of X, Y, and Z, and blah, blah, blah. You still in your head might be like, well, I didn't see it that way, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? If somebody's telling you who they are, or if somebody's telling you what it is, they're telling you what their perception is, anyways, right? Whether it's right or wrong. You've got, you then got to find the closure within yourself. Like, all right, maybe I don't believe it, but this is what they're saying, and I have to respect it, right? And nobody, nobody else owes you closure. I mean, does my ex-husband owes me closure? I ever hear from a guy who completely ghosted? No, I had to find the closure for myself, right? I had to accept that this is just the kind of person he is. Except, does it mean I agree with it? No, but it's time to move on. I got a kid to raise and a life to live. And that being said, coming back to becoming a solo mom. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I didn't have a tick on me. Right? My daughter's my priority. Like these situations, having to get over um, uh, having a sprained back because I was driven off a cliff. That was tormenting. That was that was enough. To where it took me forever to be not afraid of driving again and going on curves and stuff like that. I was like on that journey for a while of recovering from that kind of trauma, and then right after it, followed by being cheated on, living in a different country, and then completely abandoned, right? I chose to leave and go back to my country with my child, um, but all these circumstances, it like put me in a dark place, and it was me. I was pushing through and being a mom and being there for my child, but like it's these things and having to work extra hard on yourself and your own traumas while being a parent, right? So that's why now too, that's all behind me. That is in the rear view, right? And I don't have time to sit and feel sorry for myself about it. However, in the present time, when it comes to dating, for me as a solo mom, my daughter's my priority, and I'm not going to put myself in a situation or her in an unsafe situation, right? So it's going to take me a long, long time to understand a person. And sometimes you can know somebody for years. And does that make me a person that um, paranoid? No, I don't think so. I've lived. I understand. I'm going to be fair. If I pick up on patterns and I don't think they work for me, bye. I will see you later. I will explain it. I'm not going to go into extreme detail because I feel like explanations, yes, but explain it once. Don't sound like you're complaining about it and like you're whining for like, I need this and I need that. It's not about validation. Just forward. Like the last guy, he ran. I wasn't even looking for anybody in the first place, as you can see. And that was his choice. And he ghosted for a couple days. He did come back with an explanation saying that he's not healed. I said, fair enough, right? That's fine. He came to me 6 months later, kind of cornered me, had been saying hi to me forever, whatever, asked if we could go out again. I was reluctant, but I said, okay. But then he started presenting the same patterns, and that was it. Boom, done. I'm a mom, right? I don't need this mental anguish at this point in time as a solo mom. But I think it's also good advice for everyone. You know, if you feel that you're being, maybe a person's not doing it intentionally, but they're toying with you, you know, it's time to stop and take a look around and look then inside yourself and say, is this working for me? Me feeling anxious and me feeling like I've done something wrong. Like, is this working for me? This person's not communicating with me. They ghosted me. They broke up with me. What's wrong with me? Don't, whatever. That's their problem. That was their reasons for wanting to go. You look inside yourself and say, that's their problem, not my problem. Time to move on. I'm going to then focus on something that's absolutely working, because trust me, if you're in a situation where you're starting to feel upset and wondering and worrying, and then the things that are going well for you in your life start falling apart, give yourself a couple of days, remorse it, if you feel bad about it. Don't chase. Don't chase. Don't sweat it. Let them. That phrase. I mean, there's a certain parts of that phrase that I think work, certain parts that, you know, have to be considered, but let them. Let them. Focus on you. Focus on what you can control within yourself. Well, guys, thanks for taking this walk with me today and listening to me. It's movement, it's expression, it's what I'm about: walking, moving, dancing, working out, and this is what this channel is kind of coming into. You can watch my playback. I'll post it later. Like, follow. Thanks for joining me on this journey. And I hope if I could have helped anybody today with what I'm saying, then it will make me feel good if I made you feel good in any sort of way. And wherever you are in this world, whatever time of day you might catch this playback, I hope you're doing well. Take care.